Hello, I'm very happy to talk in this symposium and to provide you with some new informations regarding closed-loop insulin therapy. Here is the agenda of this presentation, and here are some of my main disclosures. We know that automated insulin delivery is based upon continuous glucose monitoring, upon an insulin pump, and upon an algorithm which can be either embedded into the pump or into a separate handset. There have been different types of algorithms that have been developed in the past years. Here is a timeline showing the development of commercial automated insulin delivery systems during the past decade. We now stand in the second generation of these systems that are a total of 5 that had come to the market. The different systems are all hybrid closed-loop systems, which mean that patients must intervene in order to declare the meal carbohydrate intakes as well as physical activities. So there is still a large room for improvement in these various AID systems. The DBLG1 system that has been developed by Dibeloop is a simple closed-loop system that can be customized according to the metabolic characteristic of the patients, and that can be interoperable. And so far, DBLG1 is compatible with the Kaleido pump from by Centra and with the ACCHECK Insight pump from Roche. The DBLG1 algorithm is based upon a machine learning algorithm that relies upon the physiological framework. This machine learning approach is supervised by an expert system, which is a kind of a second algorithm that can take the lead in various situations. On top of these two algorithms is a hypo minimizer, and finally DBLG1 is capable of self-learning optimization. DBLG1 is easy to set up. It only requires 4 parameters: the weight of the patient, the total daily dose, the typical carbohydrate intake during the various meals, as well as the safety basal rate. DBLG1 is easy to adjust according to the metabolic characteristics of the patient, and we can change the glucose target, and we can modulate the aggressiveness of the algorithm. It also comes with some nice features, such as a confidentiality mode, allowing the patient to suspend the uploading of data in the web-based platform. There is also a Zen mode that can help the patient to reduce the risk for hypo in various situations, and there is also a very powerful exercise mode. Finally, what is interesting in the DBLG1 is that it's coupled with a platform based on the web called Your Loops, which makes DBLG1 ready for telemedicine. We know that in the past years, the diabetologists agreed upon what could be the main metabolic indicators to show the outcome of new treatments. And the experts agreed that time in optimal range during CGM should be beyond 70%, whereas time below 70 milligrams should be below 4%, and time below 54 milligrams should be below 1%. I will not go into detail on this slide that summarizes some of the main outcomes with the 5 different commercial systems of closed-loop therapy, but we can see that all systems achieved a very significant improvement in time in range, and were also able to achieve some degree of reduction in hypoglycemia in various ranges. It may be actually more relevant to admit that the performance of a closed-loop system is a trade-off between the improvement in time in range and the reduction in hypoglycemia. And when we compare these two variables, we can see that diabetic DBLG1 behaves very nicely by achieving at the same time a very significant improvement in time in range and a very significant reduction in the incidence of hypoglycemia. So that if we look back at the achievement made with DBLG1 since the pivotal trial that has been published 3 years ago, we can see that there was a continuous improvement in time in range, going from 12 points in the early SP7 trial to up to 18.4 points now since the commercial launch of DBLG1 in Europe. Indeed, we were able to analyze the data among 1,000 patients that have been equipped in Germany during the last quarter of year 2021. And we can see that time in range increased from 54.6% in open loop before the initiation of DBLG1 up to 73%. At the same time, these patients did not experience hypoglycemia, as we can see on this slide. We looked actually at nearly 2,000 patients that have been equipped during the last quarter of year 2021, and the real figures are 73% time in optimal range, 0.9% time in hypoglycemia, 0.1% below 54 milligram, and the glucose management indicator achieved 7.06%. If we look at the percentage of patients that were able to achieve at the same time a time in optimal range beyond 70%, a time in hypoglycemia below 5%, and a glucose management indicator below 7%, we were happy to see that 47% of the patients could achieve all three criteria. Actually, the measurement of the outcome in patients after initiation of closed loop was performed in 974 patients where we had the initial HbA1c. This allowed us to compare the time in range before and after initiation, and the metrics in this subpopulation showed that the improvement reached 18.4%. This slide shows a timeline of the DBLG1 development during the past decade. We were able to perform trials, first of all in hospital, then at home, then in children. We were able to perform a trial with a specially developed algorithm for patients with highly unstable diabetes. And now we intend to study teenagers with a special feature of DBLG1 allowing patients not to announce a meal. We wish to study the DBLG1 system in the US, and we are also about to start a trial among type 2 diabetic patients. To summarize, I think that it's very important to consider that the DBLG1 system is interoperable, and we would love to come next time with some data with patch pump. It's very important from a patient point of view to be able to use a patch pump, which is much more attractive, especially among teenagers. And obviously for closed loop system, we need a high precision pump. And this is the story that I wish to tell you next time. Thank you for your attention.